How do you go from not speaking the language in Australia to running your own cleaning business and then building your own commercial real estate agency? In today's episode, we're going to show you the exact pathway that one of our clients has taken to make that happen. Hello, welcome to episode 184 of Commercial Real Estate Leadership. I'm your host, Darren Krakowiak. I'm helping commercial real estate principals who want to work fewer hours, who want to deliver more value to their clients, and who want to grow revenue in their business. And in today's episode, we're going to be meeting Tony Arminian of Simple IC, Simple Industrial Commercial. And his story is a familiar one. It's one of watching some of our content and thinking about getting on board as a client and then wishing that they had gotten on board sooner. So if that is potentially you, in that you've been consuming our content for a while, you've been lurking, looking, maybe you've even clicked like on one of the posts on LinkedIn or on Instagram, but you haven't actually picked up the phone or sent us a DM to take that next step, well, now's the time to do it. Go to our Instagram profile, which is at CRE Success, all one word, and send me a DM with the word grow, and I will get back to you. You can also go to our website, cresuccess.co/grow. If you enter your details there, you'll get our free report, Multiplied Growth, and that will also tell me that you're interested in having a chat about your business. Now, on the show last week, by the way, we did present the first half of the interview with Will Tong, and we're going to come back to that in our next episode. I got some feedback, by the way, about the episode. Apparently, I said the word dickhead a lot, and I said the word dickhead more than you should be saying on a commercial real estate podcast. So I promise not to say the word dickhead anymore on today's episode. So we'll come back with the second half of the interview with Will Tong of Property Alliance in our next episode. But for today, really excited to have this conversation with Tony Arminian. Let's get into it. Tony Arminian, welcome to Commercial Real Estate Leadership.
Morning, Darren. How are you going?
Very, very good, Tony. Now, if I had a name like yours, my name would be Darren, Sri Lankan, Norwegian, Polish, because that's my ethnic heritage. And your ethnic heritage is that you are Armenian.
Correct.
So is Armenian a common...
Spelled differently, though.
Yes, with an E, not an I.
Yes.
But is Arminian a common surname in Armenia?
No, not really. It's not too common. So I'm spelled Amin, whereas Armenia's Armenia.
Oh, there's an R as well, yeah.
There's an R after the, yeah. So not too common. Very similar to, say, a Piero Italiano or someone along those lines. Tom English.
Very good. Good point. When I worked in Korea, I had a colleague whose name was E Hanguk, and Hanguk means like Korean person. So yeah, it does exist in many cultures. But look, I know a little bit about Armenia because one of my best mates in high school was Armenian and is Armenian. In fact, he's mates with you, I understand, Daniel.
Yes.
But I think it's a country probably that people don't know a lot about. So I know that your heritage is important to you, and what we want to do on this show is get to understand, people who we're working with. I want to talk to you about your business and also working with CRE Success as a client. But I just thought I'd ask you a couple of questions about Armenia, if that's okay. First one is, were you born here or born over there?
No, born overseas.
Okay, how old were you when you came to Australia?
Well, probably just pushing 7.
Okay,
so
all
I've been
right.
here 30 odd years.
Yeah, did you speak any English when you came to Australia?
No.
No. Okay. So that must have been challenging.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
Hasn't improved much.
And funny. Now you've got 2 young boys.
Correct.
And do they speak Armenian?
Yeah, fluent.
They do.
So at home we just speak Armenian to them. Friends, family, all Armenian.
Okay. Because my wife is Korean, so my wife speaks a lot of Korean to our daughter, and she's now old enough to go to Korean school. On Saturday mornings. Do your boys go to Armenian school?
Yeah, Saturday school, they go, both of them.
Okay, excellent.
Funny stories. We just at English school, one of the teachers hit us up last week saying the boys' vocabulary is not as great. We should speak more English at home. So
And I'm sure you told her to stick it, right?
we just said, yep, no worries, and stick to what we do.
Yeah, no, it's excellent. Obviously, I'm sure you know for kids to learn two languages. It
Correct.
opens
Yeah,
up those neural pathways and all of that.
definitely.
Without talking too much about Armenia, there's a couple of things I wanted
Yep.
to know. One was, now you've taken your boys and your partner, your wife to Armenia how many times since you've had kids?
Taking the boys once, but
Yep.
we try to go every 2 years.
Okay. And what's one thing that you would want our listeners to know about Armenia?
It's a very small country. It's landlocked, but one of the oldest countries as well. So very religious. First Christian nation ever, but very old country, a lot of history behind them.
First Christian country ever. I did not know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And the neighborhood is more of a Muslim neighborhood. Is that right?
Correct. Landlocked by Muslim countries. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, thank you for sharing.
No.
Tony, there's a couple of things that I want to talk to you about today. One is about your, well, what I've picked up about you. We've been working together now for about, I'd say, close to a year and a half.
Yep.
And I've noticed you've got a real can-do attitude. You're the type of guy who is willing to give things a go. And as I was doing a little bit of research before our interview today, I found out that you actually had a business before Simple IC, which was
Correct.
a cleaning company, or maybe you still have it?
Yes. No, still got it on a bit of a side hustle.
Okay. So tell me about that.
So I started that again probably about 10, 15 years ago. When my parents moved to the country, Dad was obviously working in a factory worker, like a lot of people that come to the country, and then started cleaning at nights just so we can get ahead. After doing that, he went out on his own, started his own business, and kind of got it from him. So after school, I'd go catch a train to the factories and go clean some offices with him. And so I kind of got into it from my parents.
Okay, so that might be where you've got the entrepreneurial gene from, because not everyone who gets into commercial real estate ends up opening their own business. So
No,
very
it's not an
interesting.
easy gig.
Yeah, and that business is still going, you said. So are your parents still in the
Yes.
game, or what? You got
No, my
employees?
parents they're retired now.
Yep.
But we've still got the business, so we still run that. We've downsized a little bit, just to make it a bit more controllable, but it's still operating and just a bit of extra cash, especially in today's times.
Yeah, I love that. And so commercial cleaning outside of business hours was the business model.
Correct. Offices, warehouses, everything. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right, so tell me about commercial real estate. So you started this business, but then somehow you also got into commercial real estate. So how did that happen?
So I was doing the cleaning, and then just after school, and then when finished school, went to uni, studied accounting. Figured after 6 months I couldn't sitting behind a desk for 8 hours a day. I had some close mates doing commercial real estate, and so I said I'd give it a go. Went and got my agent's rep. Couldn't find a job in commercial back then quite easily. Got into resi for about 3 months, which my plan was always to jump into commercial. So I started resi for 3 months till I got an opening, and been doing it ever since now. So yeah.
So what do you think makes you well suited to commercial real estate?
Probably less emotion involved, a bit more straightforward. I'm pretty direct in the way we go about things. So less emotion. Decisions are made fairly quickly if the numbers stack up correct and whatnot. So yeah. Plus no weekends.
No weekends, very good. So, starting your own agency is obviously a huge move. So, what was the impetus to do that?
I was doing it for a while, worked at a couple of different agencies, and just picked up some things which were going well, which some guys were doing good and some guys weren't doing great, and some of the other stuff about it. I said, well, we'll give it a crack. We're pretty straightforward. Had a good client base which we were working with. Had a chat with a couple of the clients that I deal with, and yeah, they gave me their backing and had a go, I guess.
So that was 2015,
16.
16. Okay. And
August 1. Yep.
how did you come up with the name Simple IC, Simple Industrial Commercial?
Just wanted to keep things plain and simple. Didn't want to complicate things. Obviously, things can get a little bit difficult and complicated. We're just straightforward, pretty direct. Like I said, just get the job done, move on to the next one. Everything is plain and simple.
I really love when I first heard it, I didn't quite get it. And then when you explained it to me, I got it. And then I remember one time you were dealing with a client who was being a little bit difficult, and you actually referenced the name to explain to the client about why this is the way that you do things, which is that we just want to keep things simple and straightforward. So
Correct. Yeah.
I think it's actually like a bit of brilliant marketing, and it's a really good name.
Yeah.
You're focused on the southeast suburbs of Melbourne, up and down Eastlink, as
Yep.
we've discussed.
Correct.
Yep. So what types of clients do you like to work with?
So we try to target some, multi-property landlords, high net worth individuals. A lot of clients have, in excess of 10, 11 commercial properties, which we deal with. And they, again, from up and down the Eastlink into the southeast, from Dandenong to Pakenham Way, up to Bayswater. So we try to target individuals and work with them.
And you moved your office last year from Narre Warren to Mulgrave, right?
Correct. So made that decision to move into Mulgrave, which more central, more accessible to clients to come and see us. So bigger office space where now we're sitting on the border of the Monash Freeway and Eastlink interchange. So we can shoot down to the east or to the south within, 15 minutes of each one.
Yeah. And where would you like to take the business? Like, what's next for Simple IC?
I'd love to keep growing it. We've got a good team on board now. There's 6 of us, so I'd like to keep growing it, add more staff, and just slowly build and keep going from there. Definitely.
One of the things that you said to me when I invited you to come on the podcast was that you're happy to do things to step out of your comfort zone, right? And this is not something that you would usually do. So thank you for coming on. And like, what I'd like to ask you about that is, why is being willing to step out of your comfort zone something that's important as a business owner?
I just think if you don't do something, you'll never know. You could always, the next day, next week, next year, regret it. And I should have done this, or I should have done that. What would happen if I made that phone call? What would happen if I did that podcast, or whatever it is? So I am a little bit nervous, but I'm not going to lie about that. But you got to just face your fears, I guess. Is what the worst can happen is, no, I don't know what can happen.
Not too much,
Not
don't
much.
worry. We're
Not
at a
too
safe
much,
space.
exactly.
And with your can-do attitude, and you're willing to step out of your comfort zone. One thing which I'm not going to ask you about now, was I want to save it for our clients, and we're going to do share this with our other clients, is just the way that you've grown your property management rent roll organically. And it all comes from the principle of being willing to have a go. So if you want to know more about that, you're going to need to become a client of CRE Success, because I'm going to get Tony to spill the beans to all our other clients very, very soon in a group call. Speaking of CRE Success, I want to go back to before you started working with me, around the first or second quarter of 2023. What was going on in the business before we started working together?
So before we started, we were having a bit of like every business, obviously, some staff issues coming and going, and not be able to find right staff. So that was a bit of a hurdle we were going through. We weren't focused on the sales side of it much, trying to grow the management role. So we were just, it was just a bit of a balancing act between trying to find the right staff, trying to grow a sales team, trying to grow the rent roll. So we were just a little bit of getting pulled from pillar to post, I guess.
Yeah, okay. And you and I actually met before, probably 2021, 2022. I don't exactly remember when. But we had a conversation, and then we didn't decide to move forward for whatever reason. So I guess I'm curious to know, there might have been some hesitations then, or perhaps there were even some hesitations before you decided to hit the button in 2023. So what were those hesitations, and what ultimately led to you deciding to give this a go?
Yeah, so we obviously had a brief chat, 21, whatever it was. And we did some homework, we had a chat about it. Just at the time, I guess I wasn't ready. I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not. We were still up in the air. So I kind of just let that sit in the back there for a bit, continue to watch your podcast and your interviews. And then something in when was it 23, middle of 23, one of my sales guys started to go into your program, your sales program.
For agents, yeah.
Yep, for agents. So I kind of pushed him into that. And then I said, well, I'm pushing them into to do all that. What and I'm not doing it's not a good example. And he just worked out, and I think I made the phone call, said, Darren, I'm ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you did, obviously. So thank you.
Yeah.
What's been a surprise? What's been a good surprise? Something that perhaps you weren't expecting from the work that we do together?
Just the accessibility, like if we're having a bit of a rough patch for whatever reason, whether it's a sales or it's staff or whatever it is, you're just a phone call away. So Darren, just need an outside set of eyes or just a different opinion or someone to hold me accountable, and you're always there. Just like give you a quick call. You give me straight on this feedback, direct feedback, which is the way I like to operate. And we'll just move on. We'll get it done and move on, which has been fantastic for me. Being just the one owner, I don't have any business partners, so I don't really have someone else I can throw ideas off or discuss issues that they might relate to staff. So having you there as a third party and as a business partner effectively definitely helps.
And yeah, why is that that accessibility and that, I guess, responsiveness important to you?
Sometimes you just need to make decisions and just have, like I said, if you're there, it just gives you a second opinion. And I might be thinking with blinkers on, whereas something might have upset me or frustrated me. But then if I just explain it to you and you say, mate, just think about it, whatever it is, it gives you that different opinion of it and through a different set of eyes, which you go, hang on a second, you know what, you're right. I might have jumped the gun on this or that or whatever it is. Yeah.
Got it. What's been a result from the work that we've done together that's been a benefit for your business?
I would say more behind the scenes in regards to setting up some processes, in regards to staff one-on-ones. Having that conversation, a weekly catch-up with the staff has been a big help. That's definitely been something which I've been pushing. And I guess you can also add to that is trying to grow the sales department. We were predominantly a management kind of company. But we just work off the rent roll. But now we've got the right sales guys in there and trying to grow that and setting them up as well to succeed.
Okay, excellent. Question without notice. If I was to ask you for one word to describe the process of working together, what would that word be?
Oh, I didn't without notice. Fantastic.
I love that. Tony, you're too generous.
Fantastic. It's no, without a word of a lie. Like I said, mate, you've always been there. I've I've had some I've had other business coaches who
Right.
are real estate coaches who were residential. And they try to sell you the dream, not selling you the dream, but everything related to residential real estate, which is the same but not the same as you're aware. Um, so they'd have their opinions based on domestic and whatnot, which you can implement and some of it you can't. But having someone that knows the commercial side of it and actually been in the industry and run a team of guys and understands how to run the office is definitely been a fantastic help for me.
Yeah, okay. I'd love to just explore that for a second. So,
Mhm.
what do you, what's the difference between working with me and working with other sales coaches? Not so much from a residential commercial perspective, but in terms like, is the process generally the same, or what is there any sort of difference in terms of the approach or the feeling?
I guess the major difference which really sticks out is that when we give you an issue we're dealing with, because you've done the job, you understand exactly what it is. So if it's a landlord or a staff issue, you've experienced that, so you know exactly what I'm talking about without me having to sit down in detail and explain from day one what the issue is and go through the process where you know exactly, okay, it's a staff issue, it's related to commercial rent roll or whatever it is. You just know, and it just makes life so much easier rather than trying to explain to us someone who might be a great business coach but never had the commercial side or the commercial real estate aspect of it.
Yeah, okay, got it. So it's the context, I guess. It's
The
the
context is the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
yeah, okay, awesome. So obviously it took you a while to get started, but it's
Correct.
going well now, and it's really great working with you. So what would your advice be for other commercial real estate principals like yourself who might be thinking about doing this kind of work?
If you're thinking about it, definitely don't don't delay it anymore. I delayed it for a year, and I guess, like I said, my regret is waiting a year. We could have been forward, but just got to pull the trigger. It's definitely something that I'll recommend for anyone who runs a business to get in touch with you. Just having an outside perspective and accountability, especially if you're a single owner with no business partners, you do need that second person to kind of run ideas off or to get an outside view on it, which is direct. Yeah, and there's no fluff about it. Just what you need to hear. Sometimes it's not what you want to hear, but you need someone to do that for you, and that's what's definitely been you guys have been doing.
Fantastic. Tony, I really appreciate you stepping out of your comfort zone and coming
Thank you
onto the
very much.
podcast today.
Nerve
Um,
wracking.
Wishing you the best for this new financial year, 2024, 2025. I can't wait to see where you take Simple IC. And I want to say thanks for coming on Commercial Real Estate Leadership.
Appreciate it, Darren. Thank you very much.